Hello, welcome to the James Cooley Show. It's your life, and I tell you, we got an absolutely wonderful show coming your way today, and I got a good friend of mine that often, I tell you, he got his own company, and his job is to make sure that he help keep America secured. And it's a lot of different ways that you can do that. We're talking about the infrastructure, and we're talking about a lot of things that goes into the infrastructure. But I tell you what. Before we introduce this guy and bring him on, and I want to get the radio portion of it started as well. So, hey, Todd, let's do it. Let's do it, my
It's
friend.
Your Life is sponsored by James J.C. Cooley.
Life is a series of circles and cycles, phases and stages. These are your experiences that teach you the lessons of life. You can either ignore them or embrace them. Welcome to the James Cooley Show. It's Your Life. James is a motivational speaker, author, military veteran, and founder of the James Cooley Foundation. James is here to equip you to strive for greatness and to overcome adversity. It's time to get equipped today for the challenges of tomorrow. Now, here's the host of It's Your Life, James Cooley.
Hello, welcome to the James Cooley Show. It's your life, and I'm your host, Dr. James J.C. Cooley, and we got a fantastic show coming your way today. Hey, Todd, uh, it's our job in making sure that we have companies out there that are going to keep our infrastructure. What I mean by that, I'm talking about our communications. Anything that dealing with comms and dealing with our networks, and we got to have great companies out there that step forward and to make sure that they work with a lot of these organizations to make sure that we good to go. So how you doing out there, Todd?
I'm doing great. This is going to be a great show, and I know I'm going to learn a lot from this show. And like you said, communication is key and the technology around it. So I'm ready for a great show.
And this guest, man, he's up in San Diego where you were at, man. And I asked him to go into the studio, but that's okay. Next time we'll get him in the studio. I always start the show with my executive producer and co-host Michelle Cooley. How are you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing good. Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining us on the James Cooley Show. It's your life. You're going to learn a lot today from our very special guest and the topic we're going to be discussing. So, your question, my answer, I'm doing great, James.
Wow, I tell you, wherever you're watching the show at, or where you're listening to, wherever you're listening to it at, if you want to be part of this conversation with this great guest that we got on today, there's a couple of ways you can do it. You can call the radio station at 1-866-577-2473, or you can go to the comments wherever you're watching it and just put your comments, put your questions in to this great guest. And I promise you that we'll get you some answers and that he'll respond. So, Michelle, I don't want to keep this guest in the dark any longer. Can you please tell our viewers the title of the show, the purpose of the show, and introduce this mysterious guest to our listeners and our viewers?
Ooh, introducing the mysterious guest. So the title of the show is Securing America's Infrastructure. And the purpose is getting to know entrepreneur and United States Marine Corps veteran Clement E. Johnson Jr. And we're going to talk about the company ClemNet and discuss what is operational technology networks and talk about the industries and the customers that this gentleman deals with. So let's learn a little bit about Mr. Johnson. So Clement's company, ClemNet, works with business, federal, states, and local governments, and it specializes in operational technology networks, cybersecurity, and services. This is the infrastructure that secures our nation's IoT and energy grid. Clement is a thought leader in automated information systems and knowledge management. Clement, he served 24 years on active duty in the Marine Corps as a field artillery operations chief. He retired at the rank of E8 Master Sergeant. As a Marine, Clement was instrumental in the development of automated fire support targeting networks and fire support system development. He was was a fire support systems instructor for the 1st Marine Expeditionary Force as well. He has managed federal government programs that continue to provide the capability to our nation, such as the development of a command and control targeting capability in support of West Coast Expeditionary Strike Groups for Expeditionary Warfighting Training Group Pacific and Tactical Training Group Pacific. So Clement, he received his Master of Science with a concentration in Project Management. He also has a Bachelor's of Science and a Bachelor's of Administration and in Information Technology. Please join us in welcoming to the James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, Mr. Clement E. Johnson Jr.
How you doing, my friend? How are you doing today?
I am doing fantastic, and I'd like to thank Michelle for the gracious introduction.
Man, it's an absolute pleasure, man, having you on the show. I know we've been talking the past week and a half or so, and had an opportunity to meet you in person almost about a week and a half ago, and it was a pleasure. So to have you on the show, man, that's totally important because we need to enlighten, educate, and pass on knowledge to our listeners and our viewers as it relates to securing our networks and our systems and firewalls and all of these other type of things. So I say it's an absolute pleasure.
And I'd like to thank you for this opportunity, Dr. Cooley, to broaden out what our company does to a wider audience, and to allow our audience to see, or at least give them a window into operational technology and how our nation's infrastructure is being secured, and the key thing, by veterans and by small businesses.
Wow. So, Clements, can you just tell our audience where you grew up and what brought you to the love that you have today? I know you served in the military just like we both did, and we both learned a whole lot, but that instilled a lot of things in you, I believe, that helped you or formulate your opinion to start this great company of yours. I actually got two.
Yes. I grew up mainly in the Los Angeles area. I'm a survivor of Compton. I grew up in the 1960s. I got a little age on me, and I grew up through the Watts riots, through the formulation of the gang violence within the city of Compton itself. But I can tell you, even growing up in that environment, what it taught me was the ability to survive, and also finding little niches and little nuggets along the way in which, even in a bad environment, you can grow. And I think that's what formulated my idea of I can do business, formulated me into being able to stick to things, and formulated me to be able to talk to people. And by talking to people, allow me to stay away from my surrounding environment, all the riffraff of the gang violence stuff.
Wow. So I always do this, man, just getting started. If you had to pick one adjective to describe you, your personality, and who you are, what adjective would that be?
Persistence.
And why? Can you hear me?
If you look at me 10 years ago, and you look and see what I'm doing, and then you look at me today and you see what I'm doing, you'll see growth. You'll see me expanding on what I do, but it's the same thing I was doing 10 years ago. If you look at me 25 years ago, you will see my track on to being a business owner, but the core values, my core interests, and what I want to do, all the education, all the business piece is all based on my persistence to do what I want to do, which is be a leadership in technology.
Wow. You mentioned Compton a minute ago, and I mean, it's probably was tough growing up there at times, but I'm sure that that taught you a whole lot. But what inspired you to enter the Marine Corps? I mean, who or what inspired you to do that?
Well, growing up, I had two people that I really knew. Well, actually, three that I really knew that were in the service. One was a relative. I didn't know this relative. I never met him, but my mother always talked about him, and he was an uncle, and he was in the Air Force, and the Air Force kind of always tweaked my curiosity from a young age with those conversations. My stepfather was in the Air Force, and he kind of influenced me to go into the military, and then opportunity led me to where I did a full career.
You, you know, so you did. How many years did you do in the military?
I did 24 years in the United States Marine Corps.
So was it hard? After you completed a career in the military, transitioning back to the civilian side of things. Were there any challenges doing that, or did you always know what you was going to do once you got out the military in your civilian career?
No. My transition into civilian life was transparent. I had been planning my transition, and to anyone that's in the audience that's in the military right now looking at transitioning, please heed my words. I had been planning my transition for about 2 years. I knew my limit of being in the Marine Corps based on my terms, and I decided to start planning to get out. And that planning was, since I was in artillery and since I did command and control systems, which are computer technology, I would meet contractors. I would meet civilians that were in the field, and I would gather their information. And as time got closer, instead of them headhunting me, I would headhunt them to see if there was opportunity for transition. And this was back in 2003. That transition did happen. And when I was on terminal leave, I walked out of the military directly into my civilian job, working as the C4I integrator for Expeditionary Warfare Training Group Pacific.
Some of the lessons that you learned in the military made your transition easier into transition into the career that you're in today. But were there any moments where the career that you're in is so broad, so big, to narrow it down to your niche? How difficult was it doing that?
It was seamless because what I was pursuing was exactly what I did in the Marine Corps. I was a C4I instructor and a expert C4I integrator. C4I is command, control, and communications. And I did the targeting connections of systems into the overall architecture. And that's what they wanted me to do at EWTG PAC and other jobs that I was looking at. That is what they wanted me to do.
Wow, I want you to hold that thought. We're going to take a station break, but we're going to come back and continue this great discussion with my man, Clement Johnson. It's your life. And if you want to be part of this conversation, 1-866-577-2473. We'll see you shortly after the break.
There's more stories of greatness to help you overcome adversity coming up on It's Your Life with James Cooley.
James Cooley. I am the founder and CEO of the J.C. Cooley Foundation, Options, Opportunities, Lasting Choice Program. Our primary mission is to help build a foundation of our youth and young adults and communities. And we encourage everyone to dream big, think big, and be big at everything you do. And the way that you do that is, first of all, you got to believe in yourself. You have to believe in yourself. You have to know that you are here for a purpose. You also have to be able to step out your comfort zone and do things that you probably didn't think that you can do.
A series of circles and cycles, phases and stages. These are your experiences that teach you the lessons of life. You can either ignore them or embrace them. Welcome to the James Cooley Show. It's your life. Dr. James Cooley is a motivational speaker, author, military veteran, and founder of the J.C. Cooley Foundation. Dr. Cooley is here to equip you to strive for greatness and overcome adversity. It's time to get equipped today for the challenges of tomorrow. Now, here's the host of It's Your Life, Dr. James Cooley.
Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show at Your Life, and I got my my fantastic guest, Clement Johnson here, and I tell you, we getting up ready to get off into his company, ClemNet, and find out all the great things that he's doing. But if you want to be part of this great conversation, all you have to do is you can call in 1-866-577-2473, or you can go to the comments on wherever you're watching it at, and ask this great man any questions that you like. And again, I put it up, and we'll get you some answers. So, hey, Clement, why don't you tell our viewers and our listeners a little bit about ClemNet? So I'm excited, and I know they are going to be excited as well.
Outstanding. So ClemNet is a operational technology networks company. And with our networks, we provide high availability networks to industry. Within those networks, we specifically focus on operational technology, the things that integrate with systems. For operational technology networks, our business has a global footprint. And we help our customers with the security of these networks in order to maintain their business, in order to not get hacked, and in order to have the confidence to move in whatever business environment they do.
Wow. So ClemNet is the name of the company, but it's also the name of a product. Can you please explain that to our viewers and our listeners?
Right, ClemNet is a combination of my name, and what we do is networks. I decided to choose that name based on my past history as an integrator. My past history of people having confidence in me in order to build large-scale global networks. So when I transitioned, I have another company called Clemtech LLC, which is a technology company. But I wanted to transition specifically into our nation's infrastructure. So with that, I put together the company Clement Network, ClemNet.
Wow. So how long has Clement Network been in existence?
This is our third year.
And what type of customers do you serve?
Our major customers are state and local customers. We also offer our services to business, and we also do federal contracts to the federal government and to the Department of Defense.
Yeah. So in your company, certifications and credentials is vital. What are some of the certifications and credentials that you all have at ClemNet?
We have our baseline certifications, which is ISO 9001, and we're currently finalizing, but are self-certified in CMMC level 2. This permits us to do government contracts, and it verifies to the government that ClemNet is an experienced company. We also have other certifications. Within the state of California, we are a service disabled veteran-owned small business. So in California, we're what we call a DVBE company. That allows us to micro focus our contracts and receive certain privileges within the state of California. We're also certified small business, and we're a certified 8A company. Within our product segment, we work on products that are certified as ISO 27001. That's a international certification. And we also offer full product lines, and these are network product lines that are IEC 62243 certifications, which is a specific cybersecurity certification. Since we're a network company, we have several network operation centers located across the country. And our 4 network operation centers are FISMA certified, and they're FISMA certified for NIST 853 rev.
Wow. Well put, my friend. So hey, Clemens, can you tell our listeners and our viewers what's the difference between IT and IT and OT networks?
And there's a prolific difference. In order to explain this, I'd like to bring your listeners into realm of a term called Industry 4.0. Industry 4.0 is part of the big cities push in order to have everything that is smart with inside of your city. Along with that push, it took those systems that were normally never on the internet, which are oil and gas, which are electric company, and it kind of put those systems into the grid. Now let's talk about IT and OT. When we're talking IT, think about getting business done. We're talking about managing business information. We're talking about routed connections. We're talking about your email that you use on a daily basis. This is your IT piece that has its own segment and its own cybersecurity and all that. Now, when we talk OT, which is abbreviation for operational technology, now we're talking work getting done. Before, when we were talking about programs like Microsoft Office, Salesforce, Google, that's IT. Now we're talking OT. And for OT, we're talking about managing the physical layer processes. We're talking about layer 2 and layer 3 connection. Those are layers on how you connect to the internet. We're talking about a design for multiple protocols, and we're talking how to alleviate multiple cybersecurity attack vectors. We're talking programs and projects such as Siemens, Honeywell, Schneider Electric, and Rockwell Automation that run robotics, that run SCADA systems, that run your HMI system. That is the difference between IT, one being getting the business done, and OT, which is getting the work done.
Wow. A lot of people didn't know that, and that it is. And your company, I believe, primarily focus on the OT side of things. Am I correct?
That is correct. The company ClemNet is laser focused on protecting our nation's infrastructure.
And so that means that it's you work in probably all 50 states and overseas work at all as well.
That is correct. We work CONUS, that's the continental United States, and we work OCONUS. Right now, we're working projects in Africa, and we just picked up a project that we're still in the formative stages in Canada and in Australia.
That's absolutely fantastic, my friend. So you kind of briefly touched on the elements of ClemNet. Can you go into that a little bit more, just to give our viewers, and maybe it might be some companies out there that want to, bring you in or whatever that might be, to help them out. Hello.
Oh well. Speaking of the elements of ClemNet, we operate, of course, specifically in the operational technology environment, and just for your audience, it is hyper important for OT networks to be up 100% of the time. If the IT network goes down, that may be a planned outage, and that's a different bailiwick. But when the OT network goes down, every minute can be millions and millions of dollars. For instance, one of our partners is protecting the Colonial Pipeline. And in the Colonial Pipeline, they had all the IT software set up, and they were doing their IT OT integration, and everything was fine for a while, until they realized that IT networks can't really support all the protocols for the OT. It still needs to be separated out. And now we're protecting, with our product called Tossibox, we're protecting Colonial Pipelines network. And now that sucker is hyper protected. Through the federal government, we are looking at protecting the federal government's operational technology networks. We're looking at the government right now has NIPR, they have SIPR, they have TS, and of course they have White Line. We would like to bring to the Defense Infrastructure Agency a new network, a network technology network. Government can now have their persistent connections to their machines and be able to have companies do remote monitoring and remote maintenance, and have that a secure network that can be continuously monitored for its health, something that is separated from the other network architecture. And if there's anyone in the audience that is interested in that, we could have further talks. Within the manufacturing industry, we protect the manufacturing industry's crown jewels. Our customers, of course, we talked about Schneider Electric and Rockwell. They have the SCADA systems, HMI systems, and CNC machines that they are pulling data from. That data is the business more than their products, and their manufacturing is the business. Because through the collection of that data, they can now open up new industries and form new ideas and improve their processes. But if that data is hacked, that's the crown jewels of that manufacturing company. So what we do is we provide a network in order to have that interaction on the network, in order to take the data and put it onto their servers to where they can do their artificial intelligence, machine learning, and virtual reality.
Wow, hold that thought, because we're going to take a station break. But it's getting exciting. It's getting exciting. I tell you, I've got a lot of listeners out there. Frederick, Tony, back in Chattanooga, Tennessee. How you doing, brother? Hey, we're going to take a station break, when we're going to come back and continue to talk to this great man and just get educated. Remember, it's your life. I'm Dr. James J.C. Cooley. We'll be back shortly.
There's more stories of greatness to help you overcome adversity coming up on It's Your Life with James Cooley.
Really get a chance to know who you are. And once you know who you are, you truly know who you are, love who you are. Love who you are. You're a masterpiece. Love who you are. Love who you were born to be. Love me some me. That's what I'm talking about. When you leave high school, you gotta know today or tomorrow, hopefully today, what your plans are. Hopefully, there is no bad decision unless there is no plan. Create, collaborate, commit with confidence. Commit with what? Commit with what? In everything that you do.
Circles and cycles, phases and stages. These are your experiences that teach you the lessons of life. You can either ignore them or embrace them. Welcome to the James Cooley Show. It's your life. Dr. James Cooley is a motivational speaker, author, military veteran, and founder of the J.C. Cooley Foundation. Dr. Cooley is here to equip you to strive for greatness and overcome adversity. It's time to get equipped today for the challenges of tomorrow. Now, here's the host of It's Your Life, Dr. James Cooley.
Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's Your Life, and I got Clement E. Johnson here, who's educating us, and we all need to be educated, especially when it comes to protecting our infrastructures, when it comes to protecting our networks, when it comes to even on your laptop and your computer at home. I mean, there's certain things that you need to know. Firewalls, a lot of different other things, and making sure that we don't upload any unnecessary software which contain viruses and all of those things. Those are some of the things that this great man do. So if you want to be part of this conversation, that's 1-866-577-2473. So hey, and then you can also just go wherever you're watching this at and just ask the question. Just like we just got a question right now from the Art, Big Al. And the question is, what are some choke points? Clement.
I'm trying to understand the question, choke points, but I'll take it from an OT perspective and an OT network perspective. I would consider choke points in my industry as the integration between IT and OT, and that is a serious knowledge gap, which I would consider a gap, a choke point. Where IT, they're trained and they're specifically trained in cybersecurity, penetration tests, and keeping networks secure. Well, the OT network has not historically been on the internet. So those network administrators and penetration testers and cybersecurity experts aren't as versed in keeping their network secure as the IT side. And as the IT side integrates, because companies, they'll want the holistic view of their network health to include IT and OT. Information managers are briefing both networks. and the OT side brief as far as health with the and complexity of that particular network. That choke point of experience makes it difficult for organizations to really understand the health and cybersecurity of their company.
Wow. I think you answered this question because I think you were talking about choke point where a lot of data is coming down as a pipeline and it's not able to get through that high highway is what we call it. If there are some choke points that is might delay some of the traffic or cause confusion. So I think you were
Right,
explaining that earlier.
if I can further answer that, in today's world, networks really are on a problem. Protocols are the problem. IT side protocols have been pretty much fixed. Everything talks to everything. On the OT side, there's older protocols that don't talk that cause stovepipe. Uh, uh, and those are some of the points companies are having problems with is protocol issues of having all their OT devices on a enterprise network.
Oh, oh yeah. Hey, yeah, so can you please tell our listeners, our viewers, a little bit about cloud services?
And thanks for the question, Al. And if anyone has a question, if anyone wants to know about the OT industry or on how they can get into the OT industry, I hope we have our contact information, or you have mine, or you can ask a question. I would be glad to have you because our industry really needs those technology experts. And can you reiterate your question again?
Yes, I said, can you tell our listeners and viewers a little bit about cloud services?
Yes, our cloud services are a little bit different than the IT cloud services. When it comes to OT networks, we offer a platform as a service. And the platform with platform as a service, I have about 50 administrator experts that they will come into your organization and they will manage your operational technology network for you. They'll monitor your remote access and your remote monitoring within manufacturing and within some government agencies. The outside remote access and maintenance is a cost saver, and it is a simple way in order to ensure that you're meeting all of your processes within your organization. So our cloud services permit that platform as a service and permit experts to be able to manage your network. Also, within our cloud service, we also offer other add-ons because remember, we're an operational technology network and we're not accessing your IT stuff. If you want to do that, then the OT community would need to be on the IT network on a different infrastructure. But we can also bring that infrastructure into the OT network and keep that protected. And that would be such as your Microsoft Azure, your AWS, and all the programs associated with it. And that is part of a cloud service that would be initiated into our service offering, this platform as a service.
Wow. So can you explain to us how networks, how your networks help cybersecurity?
Yes. With inside of industry, there's particular compliances that have to be met. The high watermark for those compliances is the National Institute of Science and Technology, and that is NIST. And with inside of NIST, they have certain recommendations by industry in order to protect the health of their networks. What we do as ClemNet is we ensure that out of the box, you are meeting that high watermark for your industry. We're ensuring that out of the box, you're able to quickly bring your organization up so that it is protected. And if you have a global enterprise, for instance, if you're a large business, you have an enterprise network. We also permit for that enterprise to be brought up quickly. And I'm not talking about weeks, I'm talking about in minutes, sometimes within 20 or 30 minutes. This helps protect the cybersecurity of an organization by having a centralized, decentralized network. And somebody please ask me what centralized, decentralized means.
What does centralized and decentralized mean?
And I was hoping for somebody in the audience, but I will answer that question. Within centralization, that means an organization keeps track individually of all those assets, and the organization's hierarchy has control. Decentralized means that individual elements of an agency can have administrative access to their particular data. So what we allow is the corporate organization to have centralized control, and we decentralize that control based on the area where certain administrators are working in.
So I see Al asked you another question. So what are in consideration to close the gaps? And I think you're talking about technology gaps and other things associated with that. Not 100% sure.
No, and Al, I think he means close the knowledge gap.
Okay.
And there is several initiatives to help improve the knowledge of current administrators within the operational technology environment. Myself, I have partnered with Miracosta College in order to have a training pipeline of personnel that have been specifically trained in the SCADA environment. And through Al's organization, Skin in the Game, we plan on integrating our veterans into that pipeline, so that we can have more veterans in our pipeline for those high-paying jobs of operational technology administration, which also moves into hardware and software, and the maintenance of hardware and software, also moves into virtual reality and how to virtualize processes, and it also moves into training.
Wow.
I hope that answers your question, Al, and thank you so much for the Skin in the Game and for giving us access to veterans where we can start putting out some of those high-paying jobs to skilled veterans in our country.
And I think that's important that you mention that, because what Al is doing is trying to reach out and educate our veterans, not just our veterans, but he's trying to educate our society as a whole, that whatever you put your mind to, you can do it, but you got to want to.
Exactly.
And that's why he called it, you got to have skin in the game. What we're going to do? We're going to take a station break, but we're going to come back and we're going to continue this great discussion with Clement E. Johnson. And we're going to talk about a lot more great things when we get back. So you want to be part of the conversation? You can call in 1-866-577-2473 or just ask questions via whatever you're watching at. It's your life.
Ask me questions.
I'm Dr. James J.C. Cooley. We'll be back shortly after the break.
There's more stories of greatness to help you overcome adversity coming up on It's Your Life with James Cooley. The JC.
We are not a charity. We are veterans. We are warriors, brothers, and sisters. We don't need, we deliver. OpsForVets.com. Handshakes, not handouts.
I'm Albert Rencheria, Marine Chief Warrant Officer 4 retired, Ops for Vets CEO. I invite you to take a look at our organization. You'll quickly understand why out of thousands of groups currently serving our veterans, we have become the most rapidly growing and opportunity-rich team in the market. We have deployed dynamic distributors who are responsible for servicing and growing their regions, East, Central, and West. We provide a complete roster of high-caliber services, produced to create the results you require. Find us on the web at www.opsforvets.com. Handshakes, not handouts.
List of size. The JC.
Fight again. And if you want my opinion, I let it take me away. Only relief is the four on the floor and the crowd that goes, oh, turn it up, turn it up, turn it up, turn it up, oh, turn it up, turn it up, turn it up.
Is here to equip you to strive for greatness and overcome adversity. It's time to get equipped today for the challenges of tomorrow. Now, here's the host of It's Your Life, Dr. James Cooley.
Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's Your Life, and I tell you, this is absolutely interesting. It's educational, and just like Clement was talking about, it's knowledge-based. I mean, learning. It's all those and more. And if you want to be part of the conversation, all you have to do is just call in or just go to wherever you're watching the show at and just ask this man any questions that you like. You know, Clemens, I tell you, you're putting it down, brother. You're putting it down.
I was saying, I sure hope someone has learned something and sparked the curiosity of someone to maybe take a look at this industry.
Wow, you know, I just mentioned that he's listening, unlearning, and relearning. I mean, and that's what it's all about is learning things, unlearning things that might not have been the best practices or etc. And relearning, the latest in what's going on. And I think that me being an IT person myself, me being a cybersecurity guy, I mean, I'm learning. I'm still learning. So let's continue to educate, my brother. Let's continue to educate. So so we talked about a little bit about security operations centers and services. Can you explain exactly what the ClemNet do in regards to helping certain operational centers and networks do?
Yes, we have a full line of products that provide security operations center operations through our SIEM and through our SOAR and through our product line Splunk, which is one of our operational technology network add-ons. Within our security operations center, we can offer network protection to the small business, and we can also expand that network protection to a larger business. We can do that protection by directly bringing on the small business or medium business customer, or for those larger organizations, we are willing to partner with other organizations to help them with their small business requirements and protect those larger companies. One of the companies that we partner with for our SOC is a company called Telos. And through Telos, for our larger companies, they run our security operations center with personnel. Normally, when we think of a SOC, we think of SOC as a application, and SOC as maybe a Microsoft or AWS security operations center. But really, the security operations center requires work, and it requires personnel. And we have the bench of about 50 personnel that not only gather the data, gather those alerts, do the SOAR as far as automatic updates if there's action going on in your network, but we have people that are actually doing the programming and everything for you.
Wow. So you have a partnership with Eaton, I believe that, or Eaton partnered with you. Um, can you explain or what is meant by they offer EV power stations infrastructure? Can you explain that to our listeners?
Right. When you look at power systems, that a lot of people may not equate that to an operational technology network. But for those that that are running power system, and especially running network power system, let me activate your mind on networks and remotely monitoring the health of your battery networks. We have two companies that we partner with for power. One is Eaton, and the other one is APC, which is a division of Schneider Electric. Within that, we protect the health of the battery network and provide those alerts to the administrators on the health of their battery network. And also within that environment, we also supply the battery technology to the companies. So if you need Eaton products or you need Schneider Electric products, we can provide those products, and we can secure the network connectivity for those products for you. Within the EV community, and for our audience, EV means electric vehicles. We focus on the electric charging stations, and through Eaton and through APC, we offer a whole line of electric charging stations, and our major customers are state governments and local governments that are installing electric charging stations as part of the Build Back Better plan.
Wow. So we're down to the last couple of minutes of the show. A couple of things I want to get out, and just because I don't want to forget. How can our listeners and our viewers or other companies or that want to work with you, how can they get in touch with you?
Yes, you can email me. Best way to email me is at services@clemtechllc.com. That's that's our larger company. So that's services, SERVICES, at CLEMTECHLLC.com. Or reach me out at my telephone number, area code 855-816-5558.
Like it. What a 30 seconds or less, I say 45 seconds, at least two takeaways that you want our listeners and viewers to get from this great discussion with you.
One takeaway, Dr. Cooley, is small business can do big business things. If you work in the federal government and your government agency has OT networks, or if you're a private business and you're looking to develop your OT networks, the Cisco's, the Cradle Points, the Palo Altos, they can help you to do that also. But what small business can do is we can give you that personalization, and we can cut your costs tremendously because we have the access to the greater technologies, not the single technologies.
I want to
The,
thank you so much,
uh,
my great friend. You know,
the,
real
the
quickly.
second takeaway is I would sure like your viewers, if they want to, if they're in the industry, to look at the OT industry seriously. And if you have any questions, I just gave you my contact info.
Well, you heard him, our listeners and viewers. Get in touch with this great man. I think he can help you out to make sure your systems are secure and make sure that you don't have any problems. I'd like to thank you so much, Clemens, for taking the time to come on the show. I'd like to thank my executive producer, Michelle Cooley, for making sure that it was written and everything is properly right. I'd like to thank my producer, Todd, at the KCBQ. Most important, I'd like to thank our listeners and our viewers for taking the time to listen to the James Cooley Show. Remember, we'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. It's your life. I'm Dr. James J.C. Cooley.